Residents of Lari in Kiambu County are in shock after mutilated bodies of 4 men were found.
They have already been identified as that of blogger Frank Obegi and his 3 friends, Fred Obare, Moses Nyachae, and Elijah Omeke.
Aliniambia maisha ya Nairobi ni ngumu, inahitaji pesa.
Kaniambia kuja nikufunze venye tutakula pesa, venye tutafanya biashara. Alikuwa anashinda akiniambia siji nitafutie ATM cards unitumie, nitafutie ATM cards unitumie.
People are getting smarter in how they want to actually get to gain for monetary gains, and that's just because the internet is getting wider.
With the internet at the center of daily life, it's inevitable that there are many kinds of threats to go along with it. This can be anything from identity theft, banking or credit fraud, digital extortion, and more, all designed to take your money. Technology made the world a global village, coincidentally, presenting a big playground to fraudsters.
I'm going to say something which may sound very controversial, but privacy is dead. Privacy is dead.
A statement that has served as a double-edged sword, dishing out opportunities for some, and for others, misery.
Frank Obegi, a social media influencer. I want the Soul Africa Summit ticket through the Blaze Kenya Facebook page. I hope at the end of the day, I'll come out a successful boy or young man.
Based on the reports from police and friends of the late Frank Obegi, one among 4 people whose bodies were discovered at Kijabe Forest in Kiambu County in June this year, that statement was perhaps one of opportunity.
Kasarani Police Commander Peter Mwanzo, who confirmed receiving reports of 4 missing persons at his station, says preliminary investigations showed that the victims were friends who were allegedly involved in online fraud.
Unajua mtu akifa mingi yanatokea. Mtu akikufa ikosi maneno. Hata akiwa mzuri anakuja mazuri na mabaya.
To his father, there was nothing unusual about Obegi. His son passed as one ordinary 26-year-old university student.
Hata yeye kuna wakati alilalamika, kuna naye mtu alienda na pesa zake zenye alikuwa amefanyia kazi. Na hiyo sikuchukulia maanani. Hiyo niliona tu ni kawaida ya watoto.
The flame of the young soul they knew has since flickered out, and as the rain seals memories of Obegi deep inside the soil in this small village in Kisii, Western Kenya, back in Nairobi, Kenya's capital, a different story is being told about him.
Kitu alikuwa ananiambia we lete ATM card, ukileta nitakuonyesha ujanja venye tutakula pesa.
That is an example of banking or credit fraud. According to the July 2022 Kenya Financial Sector Stability Report, loss of money due to cybersecurity attacks ranked highly in 2021, with users reporting such loss through mobile banking, mobile money, or directly from their bank accounts. In Kenya, there are at least 6 million transactions done via the ATM cards, as per the Central Bank of Kenya records.
The ATM card can be used physically or online. And now online, I'm talking about using it to purchase goods and services. A lot of people get scammed because the websites that they'll be using it for are not even real. A friend of mine is coming to Kenya in a few weeks, and guess what? He wanted to actually get a visa, a Canadian visa. When you look for Canadian visa to Kenya, the first website that shows up is not for the government. Somebody created another page that looks just like that one. Okay, it doesn't even look just like the original one, but he actually submitted payment details to the wrong website. So he lost $150.
In most cases, if you're making a purchase online, you don't have to enter the card's PIN. Instead, you enter the card number, expiration date, and the cardholder's name. In some cases, you may also be prompted to enter the billing address for the card and the 3-digit security code on the back of the card. This setup allows thieves to use debit cards for online purchases without knowing their PINs.
Can it be prevented? Yes and no. So a few banks in Kenya, and for confidentiality's sake, I cannot mention which one, have been able to detect such fraudulent transactions. For example, they know you just withdrew money. So why would you, in the next few seconds, withdraw money? It's not possible. You can't withdraw money, and then all of a sudden, they can see the card has been taken out. So how come your cash has been debited again online somewhere else in a few minutes? It's not impossible, but it can tell that that's an indicator of an attack.
Jason, not his real name, is one among many of the late Obegi's friends who had a hint of what was going on in Obegi's life.
Hizi ATM cards, akikwambia umtafutie ATM cards, alikuwa anakuambia utazitoa wapi, ni za nini?
Kitu alikuwa ananiambia, we lete ATM card, ukileta nitakuonyesha ujanja venye tutakula pesa. Tukiendelea kuongea, that's when I realized that alikuwa amerecruit marafiki zangu pia wenye tulikuanga nao since 2014.
Kwa wale mabeshte zako wote wenye mlikuwa nao kutoka utoi, mkiwa utoi, kuna yule mwenye labda alikubali, alafu akakuja akakwambia vile wao ufanya hizi vitu?
Yeah, there's one. Alitokanga Ushago, huyo Frank ni alimtoa Ushago, akamleta Nairobi. So alimfunza pia yeye akajua. So huyo ni alikuanga ananipigia, ndio nikamuuliza mnafanyanga aje, ndio akanieleza. Venye wanachukua ukani ATM, wanaipiga picha. Alafu wanachukua hizo details, wanazilink na PayPal. So the moment wamelink na PayPal, wanaweza transfer pesa kutoka kwa bank in amount kwenda kwa PayPal account. So wakitransfer hiyo pesa to PayPal account, and then wanaweza withdraw from PayPal account kwenda kwa ile namba yenye wameweka PayPal account.
For the past few weeks, I've been dealing with a particular case where people have put their card details on certain ride-hailing apps in Kenya. And all of a sudden, they have been told that your trip has arrived and your trip has ended. Cash has been deducted from your account. You're like, but I've not moved. So how did somebody even use my card details?
Dr. Bright Gameli, a cybersecurity expert, hints that such applications may not have really factored in data protection for the information their clients have trusted them with.
There's one that I actually did a responsible disclosure for, that I actually compromised them and told them, your system is not safe for ride hailing. You need to actually do a few checks here and there. And it's a big company. They didn't want to listen. I've had a case where somebody told me their bank account has been debited more than they expected, and there's only one place they've put that card details. Again, on a taxi hailing app.
While information breaches contribute to such kind of fraud, sometimes it could be from the people you have trusted your money with. Based on the 2021 FinAccess Household Survey, out of 6.8% of bank account users who reported to have lost money through cybercrime, a majority of them attributed their loss to internal fraud or inside jobs.
Sijui penye walikuwa natoa nayo kadi, I don't know. But probably ni penye clubs walikuwa naenda, probably walikuwa nafanya na watu wa bank, ndio wao walikuwa nampatia details za watu.
Jason, Obegi's friend, says he met with Obegi several times at a local bank. He alleges that Obegi told him that he was tasked with banking checks for a certain communication firm. However, while that part of cybercrime seems tiresome, risky, and a bit complicated, other methods are easy by comparison.
One of the easiest ways people are getting compromised these days is social engineering. Social engineering is hacking the human brain, be able to actually ask you questions or tell you ways that you can reveal information that normally you will not give anybody.
Given that this is based on human interaction, it is not as obvious to point out as you think.
I can use other apps to send money back.
Stacey Odhiambo is a Kenyan student in the United States, a victim of credit fraud.
There is a guy from Kenya who is known to my brother, and they reached me through my brother. And their story was they had an online business and they were being paid through a US account. And for some reason I believed it because they were known to my brother.
Stacey at the time had no reason to doubt that maybe the US bank account that the guy referred to was actually not his. What the guy in question wanted was a Sendwave account held by a Kenyan residing in the US where he could transfer money to, so that Stacey, in this case, will then wire the funds to him through his brother here in Kenya. Stacey was actually issued with the bank details to do the transaction herself.
I just typed in the card details onto my Sendwave account. That's just the card number, the security code, and the address related to the card. And I was transferring money to them, and they actually asked me to do it in bits, not just once. And they asked me to send it to them, and then they also asked me to send it to a different number. So I sent a total of 300,000 Kenya shillings. That is like $3,000.
A week later, Sendwave reached out to her. They had been forced to pay the bank the said amount, and Stacy was now on their radar. The bank details belonged to an American.
I reached out to this guy and asked them if the card was really theirs, because there's been chargebacks on my transactions. And that's when they told me the card is not really theirs, and they're also trying to help another friend.
Sendwave will finally let go of the case after Stacy tried to engage Safaricom to get details of the person who registered the numbers to which she sent the money to.
How has that interfered or affected your life in a foreign country after this particular case?
I can send money, but not with Sendwave. I can use other apps to send money, but not specifically Sendwave. Just because of that, forever blocked from using Sendwave. And it made me be so afraid, because US is so strict with rules. And I was so scared of being deported to some extreme because I was a victim to fraud.
Getting card details, which is the card number, expiry, the CVV, people find ways of stealing them. There are hackers who do this on a day-to-day basis. Either they've hacked a company, a bank, so they target a mass number of people and they collect all those details, one way or the other. People sell them in the deep web. The deep web is available. Anybody can go to the deep web. You know how much you can actually buy 10,000 card details for? It costs nothing more than $100.
While the odds seem to be in favor of criminals, there is a chance of reducing the risk of being targeted.
I tell people your email serves as a true base of security for anything, because all your details you're storing online is tied to an email. Your phone number is another source of truth, so you need to make sure that it's actually protected. The next level of things is social media accounts. I mean, everybody's very comfortable having conversation on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and the TikToks and Facebook and everything. However, they all have one thing in common. One, a strong password. So a strong password, typical strong password, is actually a phrase.
This site here will enable you to understand how strong your password is. For example, if I was to use Raquel as my password, that password will be cracked instantly. If I was to add my year of birth, it will take the computer about 1 day to crack that password. If I was to add probably a space or a sign, it will take a computer about 700,000 years to crack that password.
Having this, as well as having backup codes for access to your accounts, will work. However,
we need to start just be able to actually scrutinize every single conversation that people are trying to have with us, be it a phone call, be it somebody trying to question you to get details out.
In Kenya, several arrests have been made in previous years in regards to mobile and banking fraud. According to a 2021 digital fraud report by credit reporting agency TransUnion, Kenyan banks are losing over $121 million every year to fraudsters through identity theft. Several offences are listed under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018, which range from identity theft or fraud, electronic theft, phishing, hacking, among others. In the case of identity theft or fraud, a person who fraudulently or dishonestly makes use of the electronic signature, password, or any other unique identification feature of any other person commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or both. While investigations into the murder of Obegi and others still continues, there is little information forthcoming from the quarters regarding Obegi's involvement in matters online fraud. From Obegi's story, it looks like becoming a cyber criminal isn't that difficult, especially if you're tapped into networks with criminals, as they say, if you know someone who knows someone. But it doesn't always end well.
Uchungu wa mwana ni mama. Ndio nasema hapa mahali mtoto alinikanyaga kwa upafu, ni mtoto mfulana anakaa mkono wa kulia, ndio inafanya nasikia hapa uchungu. Mahali alikanyaga alilali.
vijana wa Kenya wachue grupu ya vijana wenye wanatembea nao ni aina gani. Wasipate mtu tu wakaanza kumfuata.
There is no shortcut to success. It's your hard work.